So, hi guys, if you are preparing for business A2 level examination and you're willing to appear in May June 2025, then this video will summarize the answering techniques for paper 3 examination that will have to be given if you are an A2 student. And if you are studying hard and if you're working hard and if you really want to understand that how to write answers in paper 3, then this video is for you. A lot of students, majority of students would know the concepts by heart. They would know the concepts if you ask them verbally, but a lot of students don't know how to structure and frame the answers or frame the answers in a way that would just encourage the examiner to give the good grade. Because okay, if you know the concepts, that's really nice, but you should understand that writing answers is a completely different story, right? So in this video I'm going to talk about how to write answers in paper 3. And in paper 3, as I just also mentioned in my previous video related to paper 3, in which I talked about the time management skills, you can also go back and see that video if you want to understand how to manage time. But in this video, I'm not going to talk about time management. I'm going to talk about the writing skills part of it. The writing skills that you will need if you want to write a high graded answer in paper 3. So now there are two types of questions. Now I'll just show you, as you can see on your screen right now. This screen that you see is like a very colorful screen right in front of you, but it's a paper 3 8 marker. That's like question 1 and question 2. You will get a 8 marker question in which you will have one page of written space, and then there will be a 12 marker. I'll also talk about 12 marker later, but now I'm going to talk about 8 marker. So when you are writing a 8 marker question, let's say if you see this question, uh, you don't need to read the case. It's just about how to write answers. Okay. This question is: analyze two benefits to WP of using quality assurance. Okay, if what are the two benefits? It's always going to ask you 2 points. For 8 marker, it is always going to ask you to analyze 2 points. It could be analyze two benefits, it could be analyze two problems, it could be analyze two reasons, anything but two. Okay, and you have to write your answer with an introduction paragraph, and then you have to make two main paragraphs in your answer, and you have to write your answer within this given space only. You can ask for extra sheets if you want, but I would always recommend my students, and I would recommend every one of you, to write your and to practice your answers to just write within these lines only, right? If you can get a good A grade within these lines, then why to write extra? Even if you don't have enough time, right? If you just ask for extra sheets and just fill in all the sheets, you can do it, but it would not add much value. If you practice how to write a very high quality answer within these lines only. So again, for 8 marker, you have to write an introduction paragraph, and then you have to make two main paragraphs. In the introduction paragraph, you have to write a proper high quality definition. As you can see on your screen right now, that in this particular, I've just written the answer just for your understanding. Let's say if this question is asking about two benefits to WP of using quality assurance. So in introduction, I have clearly defined a high quality definition of quality assurance, so I can just get a one knowledge mark out of it. And then I have created two main paragraphs. If you see the screen, the two main paragraphs, this is how your ideal two paragraphs would look like. And obviously, every student can write a very different answer. This is just a sample answer to make you understand how to write. But whatever paragraph you create, if let's say if you have to write one advantage of quality assurance in the first paragraph and the second benefit of quality assurance in the second paragraph, whatever point you write, you state your point, and then you explain that point very well in that particular paragraph. A lot of students do this mistake. They just try to write 2 3 points in one paragraph. Don't do that. Never do that. Write one point and then explain it well. Whatever point, whatever benefit you can think of this quality assurance, think of that point. You state it very well. As you can see, if that's visible on the screen, you state your point and you explain your point. Acha, in order to explain it, now that's a very, very important area. In order to explain your point, there are a lot of techniques, there are a lot of frameworks that you can use, but one of the very famous frameworks that I have been designing since I don't know how many years, but one of the very famous and very important frameworks that you can use is known as panel. Panel, PANEL, panel. This is a word that you can just remember when you are framing one paragraph in A2 levels. This panel is basically divided into 5 areas. Okay, so like P stands for point, The AN part of panel stands for analysis. The E part of panel stands for evidence and evaluation. And the L part of it stands for linking back to the question. So when you want to frame a right paragraph, you can use this framework or this strategy known as panel, where you have to first state your point. P is basically state your point. Then AN, then you have to analyze that point. And for analysis, you can use the BTL technique that I have been talking about, because therefore leading to, you can maybe whatever point you have stated, you can ask yourself the question, what do you mean? Why this point is an answer to this question? You can explain that point, and you have to use the evidence of it. The panel, the E part of panel, you have to use evidence when you're writing your answers. When you're writing any point, if I'm writing about any benefit of quality assurance, I have to use evidence from the case, because it's a paper 3. I will have a proper insert sheet with me. I would have read the entire case study. Whenever I'm writing a paragraph, I need to use the evidence from the case. I have to refer back to the case all the time, and I have to tell that, okay, this is why it is a benefit for this particular situation. Okay. And the L part is, whenever you write a paragraph, you make sure that you link back to the question. That's the very, very important part, because a lot of students, when you're writing such detailed answers, when you're writing such essay based answers, a lot of students get distracted. They would write some point and they would just go end up writing something else. You read back the question and refer it back. You have to tell the examiner that is why it is a benefit of using quality assurance. That is why it will benefit this organization of using quality assurance. You just keep referring back to the question also. That's also a very important part. But when you're writing one paragraph, I would just make it simpler for you. You state your point, you analyze that point using BTL technique and asking yourself two basic questions. What do you mean by the point that you have stated? And why is this point an answer to this question? And these two explanations would just complete your analysis part. And then you try to continuously refer back to the case, use evidence from the case. If you can see this paragraph I have in the last line, you can see that they were making some outdoor play equipment. So I was just telling them that, oh, if you go for quality assurance, then this such new products such as making this new outdoor play equipment will actually help, because it would satisfy the customers in a better way. So you refer back to the case, and then you make sure that you link back to the requirement, or this is also known as hooking back basically. So you just connect the hooks from the question, and that's how you write one paragraph. And don't try to just make the paragraphs very perfect, because obviously some students are like this, just try to be very, very over smart, and they always think like that we would just write something which the examiner would never have heard of, or we would write something that would be just out of the box, and the examiner would just come to your home and give your results. You don't need to do that. You need to write a simple point and you need to explain it well, because a lot of students are like, oh, we'll write something that no one would have thought of, so that would just inspire, and the examiner would just get flattered and would just come. No, no, you don't need to think like that. You need to write a very simple point, but you need to explain it very well. It's not about writing something out of the box. It's writing a straightforward point, but explaining that point very, very well. Okay. So that's how you write a 8 marker. And again, try not to exceed the lines. Try to write your answer within the lines only. If you get like, if you feel like that, okay, you have 1 or 2 lines extra and you're not able to fill the entire lines, that's also completely all right. You can leave the lines also. But generally, the general rule of thumb is that you will feel like that the lines are short. If you feel, when you're writing answers, when you're practicing at home, and if you feel like that the lines are short, and you feel like that, oh, I'm not able to complete my answers within the given lines, that's a completely normal feel, and that's a good feel, because you should feel like that lines are not enough. But still you have to practice to write within the lines. That's how you think when you are preparing and practicing for paper 3 examination. All right. So yeah, this is for 8 marker. There is no need of a conclusion in 8 marker. But when you go to the next question, which is a 12 marker, now you can see on your screen a colorful extract that I have designed for our 12 marker in paper 3. And as you can see right on your screen, this 4 marks are for calculation, right? And I have clearly shown the workings, I've clearly shown the formula. Whatever calculations you get, you have to write the formula, you have to write the workings, and then you have to write the answers. All right, don't just directly write the answer. you'll end up losing free marks. So write the formula, write the workings, write the answer. And then for a 12 marker, okay, that's a very important part of this video now again, because for 12 marker, as you can see on your screen, I have written the entire answer for you just to make you understand how the 12 marker looks like. But this 12 marker will be an introduction paragraph, two main paragraphs, and then a conclusion paragraph. Okay, introduction, two main paragraphs, and then a conclusion paragraph. And this conclusion is a very, very important paragraph. And as I mentioned in the time management one video, the last one, where you have to plan your answer beforehand, just like I'll say it again, but for 12 marker, you should plan before you write. Okay, what introduction you're going to write, what your first paragraph would be about, what your second paragraph would be about, and what your conclusion would look like. And you have to practice conclusions. I can make you understand how to think about conclusions, but you still have to practice it with me in my other videos or maybe yourself at home, but you have to practice it. And for introduction paragraph, let's say if I just read this 12 marker, it's asking me to evaluate the importance to WP's business planning of using sales forecast based on this time series analysis. So how time series analysis will be important for business planning. Now that's a tough question, by the way, but it's evaluate. 12 marker is always going to be evaluate part, in which it's generally a two-sided discussion. It can be a one-sided answer, but it's generally a two-sided discussion that how will it be important for the business planning. So I think of a right introduction. I have defined time series analysis, and then I make two main paragraphs on maybe one paragraph on how it will be important, how it could be a problem, and then I have to conclude, in which I will have to give my opinion that what do I think that how effective this time series analysis is to the business planning. Okay, so for a 12 marker, you write introduction paragraph, two main paragraphs, and a conclusion paragraph. And again, there are given lines, you don't need to exceed the lines. And I would suggest you, uh, that's a very difficult technique to grasp in this one go, but with practice you will understand it. But before you start writing this 12 marker in exam, the first thing that you do is to think of your opinion. Let's say if the question is that how important time series analysis will be for business planning, so you think of your opinion first. What your opinion is. Is time series analysis really important for the business planning, or is it not important, or other areas are also important? You think of what your opinion is for the first time, for the first, even before you write answer, you think of what your opinion would be, and then you just frame the other answer. Maybe that's a difficult thing to grasp in one go, but you will understand it once you follow more of our videos and once you practice more with us. But this 12 marker is also again a very important part of your question, and you will have three 12 markers. You will have a 12 marker in question 3, you will have a 12 marker in question 4, and you will have a 12 marker in question 5 as well. And that is how you write a 12 marker. And that is it, by the way. But I guess you can use abbreviations in 12 and 8 markers if you want. Let's say there are certain abbreviations that you can use, such as JIT for just in time, such as JIC for just in case, but that's not needed. You can use that also. But overall, again, there's no right and wrong answers. Every student can just come up with a very different answer. There's no perfect answer in business examination, and and you don't need to think of you don't need to have a very perfectionist mindset when you're in the examination, because it's already a paper 3 examination. That's all. That's really uh, that's really tough examination. It's not an easy examination, and you need to accept it, and you need to understand it that some of the questions would be tough, some of the questions would give you a tough time, and you cannot get a full mark. You can try to, and I hope and I will pray that you get full mark, 60 on 16 paper 3, uh, but practically that's not possible. You will make some mistakes, you will find some questions difficult, but on an overall basis you have to practice well, and you have to focus. The last point for this video, that when you are appearing and when you're preparing for examination in May 2025, you have to practice this writing skill at home. Do not just focus on learning the book again and again. Some students would just go with over the book, the notes again and again. They would watch our video lectures again and again. Rather, I would suggest you to practice writing skills. Just open the past papers, write down your answers, even if you write it wrong. Go to the marking schemes I'll also make another video about how to go through the marking schemes. You can also follow more. But you go through the marking schemes and you see that whatever points you have written, are they actually matching with the marking schemes? You need to do it and you need to practice at home. That is where you will be able to grasp and grip on how to write answers in paper 3. So yeah, we wish you best of luck for your upcoming examinations, and we hope to stay connected via our online modes of communication. And I hope that our videos are really effective and helpful for you. If you want to give your suggestions, if you want to have any concerns or queries, if you feel like that, oh, make this video and make this stuff, you can give your suggestions also, because that would be a very valuable insight for us. And stay connected, give us your feedback, do like and subscribe if you want to, and we wish you best of luck for your examination. Thank you very much for watching.